In this video, we will discuss the sequence of tenses in Latin, especially as it applies to the verbs of the subjunctive mood. Throughout this video, we will be using one sentence in Latin, but we will make some changes to this sentence over the course of the video and determine how the changes of the Latin words affect the meaning of the sentence. So let's begin. Cum caenam consumat, laetus est. We translate this as, when he eats dinner, he is happy. Notice how est is a present tense indicative, he is happy, and consumat is a present tense subjunctive. And we translate both of these as a present tense in English, when he eats and he is. Let's make a slight change to this sentence. Cum caenam consumeret, laetus erat. We'll translate this as, when he ate dinner, he was happy. Start by looking at erat. Erat is an imperfect indicative. He was. And consumeret is an imperfect subjunctive. And so we've changed when he eats to when he ate. We changed he is to he was. And notice how we've made changes to the tenses of the verbs from the first sentence to the second. The reason that we have done this is because of the sequence of tenses. The concept here is that the tense of a subjunctive verb in a subjunctive clause will depend on the tense of the main verb from the main clause. Now, there's a very logical system as to how this works. And so let's take a look at a chart to describe the sequence of tenses. Here we go. So, for a main verb that is in the present tense, the future tense, or the future perfect tense, that is any verb that is a present or a future verb, you have two options for the tense of the subjunctive that you can use. Either you can use the present tense subjunctive, or you can use the perfect tense subjunctive. For any main verb that is in the past tense, that is the imperfect, the perfect, or the pluperfect, you have also two options for the subjunctive verb. Either you can use an imperfect subjunctive or a pluperfect subjunctive. Let's take a look at how this chart applies to the two sentences that we've already seen. Cum caenam consumat, laetus est. The word est is in the present tense indicative, and that is our main verb. Consumat is in the present tense subjunctive, and that's in our subordinate clause. And so this puts us into this box of the chart right here, because we are working with a present tense main verb and a present tense subjunctive verb. And so this means that we're talking about a concurrent action. When he eats dinner, he is happy. So his eating of the dinner is concurrent or simultaneous or happening at the same time as he is happy. In our second example, cum caenam consumeret, laetus erat. Erat is an imperfect indicative verb, and consumeret is in the imperfect subjunctive. And so this puts us into this box of the chart. We are working with an imperfect, a past tense main verb, and the imperfect subjunctive then indicates a concurrent action. So, when he was eating dinner, he was happy. The eating of the dinner is concurrent or simultaneous or happening at the same time as his happiness. So that's how we talk about a concurrent or a later action in the subjunctive clause. Let's now talk about completed actions, and let's take two new examples. Here we go. Cum caenam consumseret, laetus est. We can translate this as, when he has eaten dinner, he is happy. Konsumseret is a perfect tense subjunctive, so when he has eaten, and est is a present tense indicative, he is. Think about how the action of the eating is completed by the time that he is happy. Now, if we throw litus est into the imperfect tense and make it litus erat, it changes our sentence. So we have cum cenam consumsisset, litus erat. We'll translate this as, when he had eaten dinner, he was happy. Erat is an imperfect indicative for our main verb. Consumsisset is a pluperfect subjunctive for our subordinate verb. Again, think about how the eating of the dinner is an action that was completed by the time that he was happy. So let's look at this systematically using that same chart. Cum cenam consumseret litus est. Here we have that present indicative in est, and consumseret as a perfect subjunctive. And so that puts us into this box here. We have a present or future main verb, specifically a present tense, and the perfect subjunctive therefore indicates a completed action. For our second sentence, cum cenam consumsisset litus erat, we have an imperfect tense main verb, and we have a pluperfect tense subjunctive verb. So this puts us into this box down here. We're working with a past tense main verb, specifically an imperfect tense, and the pluperfect subjunctive therefore indicates a completed action. In both of these sentences, the action of eating dinner happened before the boy was happy. So, to sum up, the tense of a subjunctive verb will depend on the tense of a main verb. And there is a systematic relationship between the tenses of the verb in the subordinate clause and the verb in the main clause. And one more quick note about this chart. It will be very handy for you to memorize this chart and how it is laid out, because it is key to understanding how the tenses of different clauses relate to each other. Now, there's a quick piece of terminology that might be useful for you in the future as you are discussing the sequence of tenses. When your main verb denotes present time or future time, that is, in the present tense, future tense, or future perfect tense, we call this the primary sequence. And so the primary sequence consists of a main verb in the present or future time, and then a present subjunctive or a perfect subjunctive. You might then guess that a main verb in the past time will kick off the secondary sequence. So the secondary sequence consists of a main verb in the past time plus either an imperfect subjunctive or a pluperfect subjunctive.